the incident at Manhattan Beach. I mean, that was like, I just listened
Yeah.
to Ryan, is it, on
Yeah.
So
Right.
Splendor,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and Salema was talking about it as well, and that was almost one of the most shocking parts about that whole incident, the fact that there were so many people there who had the
Mm-hmm.
power and
Mm-hmm.
the agency to stop it, and nobody did. And again, that
Mm-hmm.
and obviously that incident was horrible, but what that incident was really about was, again, control, access, who had the right to be in that space, like
Mm-hmm.
the and the historical entrenchments that exist because of the cultural history that's led us to that point, like, and
Yeah.
it and that was an example of privilege not being used, and that power being ignored, which was what almost made it so
Mm-hmm.
shocking, really, I think, particularly what's been going on in the last year with the wider conversation in, for
Mm-hmm.
example, the surf community.
Yeah. And I think that for me, like I went to that paddle out, and for me, I've been, and this is where everyone talks about that photo on Instagram where everyone sees me jumping into the barrel at Zigatel in Port Escudino. That photo is fueled by
It's a good
people.
photo.
I remember. Thanks, my friend. Thanks. I'll be back down there in like a week or 2 weeks. But people didn't know, like, being someone of color. The only place I didn't experience racism was Hawaii to me, because I was like, oh, these are brown, like these people of color, and you know, they're basically fending off white people, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I was like, oh my god, they're like really like taking in the Hawaii, and I was like when I was a kid, I was like, oh my god, this is so amazing. This is like, I was like, this is the opposite. I was like, this is real, and what it told me in my mind was, it was like they weren't just fighting to protect the lineup, they were protecting their culture. And they did it in such a humane, loving way that you had no choice but to respect that culture, no matter what race or color you were. And when you look at surfing, for me as a African American male, what I look at is as that photo down in Mexico. It was fueled by people saying, like, earlier in the day, La Punta, where people were like, oh, you're not, and like, black guys can't surf, I mean, swim, so how can you surf and such? And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And what I did is I took it down to Zigatella, and I just saw the same person. I just went for it, and I pulled right into that barrel, and I just shot through it. And I was like, I learned from my grandparents, and to your point, for me at least, everything you send to me is rocket fuel, negative or positive. I just take the same log and I put it into the rocket fuel, and it blasts me forward, because I've learned how to use that mentally in my space, in my head. Manhattan Beach now showed me a very, 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 very sad truth of, when we had Black Lives Matter, we still do, when we had what happened this summer, everyone put up a black card, like 200, oh, sorry, 2.7 million people or something like that. I may could get, like, I could get those numbers wrong. Sorry if I'm not a mathematician. But out of all those people that did it, you are putting up just a hashtag and being like, I'm done. Cool. I did my work. You're now sitting and seeing a real life situation that's asking you to be more than a hashtag, be beyond social media, be beyond what you're doing. And that did not translate to that moment. And that was the truth, because people move so fast on hashtags and be like, I did something. Like, if we were to be a little bit more intentional, have that opportunity to think of that privilege what we have, that incident would have been over in an instant. It would have been diffused right then and there. I look at that photo, I'm like, you have what, 20 people in that water watching it go down? Two, three people could have just went over and be like, enough is enough. We're good here. And none of it happened. It took a protest of everyone coming together, be like, oh, you know what? We could have done something better. And I want to say this right now. If we would have done those things sooner, Ahmaud Arbery would have probably got home. And that's what I think about. I think about George Floyd would have got, you know, 7 seconds, 9 seconds of his life back, if we would have thought about that, been more intentional. But it's after the fact we do something. And I just keep seeing it over and over. I'm like, at some point, you got to be more than just what you put on paper and stand for those core values. And it's really scary because, like I told people, for me, when I resigned from my position at Live Nation, everyone was like, "Why are you walking away? Like you're on the track to go from director one day to maybe like VP of what you've done. Like you've been 10 years of your job, project and product management." And I wrote to the CEO and the team, and I said, "I'm not walking away because I don't love it. I made a promise to my community, my great grandmother, my friends and family to see this change through. It may cost me everything, but it will not cost our future generation the pain and struggle that I had to see." And like I said at the end, I was like, the party that you go to isn't fun if you're the only person there that gets the music. And every time you try to invite your friends to it, they're denied. And so I was like, I'd rather go back, get some of my friends, show them what the party's like, and then we're all in together. And that's the point of it for me. So seeing what happened at Manhattan Beach, it was sad. And people are like, well, what should I do? I'm like, be more than just there. Stand up, you know? So that's my 2 cents on that.